few weeks ago, we talked about some of the weirdest side projects and cameo appearances that the Jackass crew have been involved in over the years. But that video only just scratched the surface, because I've got even more to share with you in today's episode. Starting off with a very unexpected cameo appearance by the one and only Danger Ehren.
You're just shooting photos?
Premiering in 2011, NBC's Grimm was a fantasy police procedural drama where a homicide detective discovers that he is a Grimm. Therefore, he is sworn to keep the balance between humanity and mythical creatures. The series was both filmed and set in Portland, Oregon. You know, the place where like half of the hipster population resides, along with Jackass star Ehren McGhehey. Danger Ehren made an appearance in Season 5, Episode 16 of Grimm, where he played a security guard named Luke Verkler. And for a guy who really isn't known for his acting skills, he actually did a pretty good job. His character had a few lines of dialogue, but dies almost immediately when he gets pushed down and cracks his skull on a rock. This next cameo involves DiCamillo and a YouTube channel that has been a longtime favorite of mine, Mega64. Mega64 is mostly known for their series of videos that bring video game characters to the real world, a concept that might sound a bit familiar if you've watched my video on G4's Proving Ground. But even with that show's inclusion of Ryan Dunn, I'd still watch Mega64 over Proving Ground any day. My personal favorite episodes are probably Luigi's Mansion, Resident Evil 4, and Shadows of Mordor. But it's always been clear that their content is heavily influenced by Jackass and CKY. Mega64 had a pretty consistent series of Madden Rap videos that coincided with the yearly release of the Madden football games. And DiCamillo made an appearance for the 2012 edition, where he rapped as John Madden himself. And even though it was a very brief cameo, Dico really did drop some bars on this one.
Come on inside my big-ass RV minivan. I got a full-size bathtub. You know I don't get paid in cash, I get paid in cold cuts.
To this day, I remember seeing this video pop up in my subscription feed on YouTube, and it was so exciting at the time because, much like today, DiCamillo's live-action appearances were very few and far between. Up next, let's talk about probably the most insane crossover in Jackass history. I'm of course talking about America's Next Top Model Season 5, Episode 9, which guest starred the main cast members of MTV's Wild Boys, Steve-O, Chris Pontius, and Wee Man. And by the way, this show went on until 2018 on the VH1 network, but initially premiered on UPN. When was the last time you even heard the name of that channel? I don't want to go off on a tangent here or anything, but their kids show lineup in the late 90s was unbeatable. Anyway, I don't know if this episode represents the usual format of America's Next Top Model, because prior to checking out a few scenes from this episode, I'd never even watched a second of this show, but this whole thing was truly bizarre.
Your control. Yeah! I didn't get to see a performance because I was making out with the dog.
You can tell that the guys tried to have as much fun as possible under the restrictions of a more mainstream reality show, but some of the models weren't really entertained by their, monkey shines, if you will.
I don't really want to work with them.
All you need is the weed.
You look like you're gonna be a problem.
A problem? I'm gonna be the answer.
And before the Wild Boys took their leave, there was a super weird scene where one of the models tried to, I guess, maybe impress the Wild Boys by putting on an adult diaper and testing it out.
Oh my god, that's right. She's doing it, dude. You can totally see her.
No.
Moving on, let's talk about the music video for The Mob Goes Wild by the band Clutch, featuring cameos by Ryan Dunn and DiCamillo. Even if you think that you don't know Clutch, you've probably heard them somewhere. But even before Clutch gained notoriety, the CKY crew always championed this band. Bam's brother Jess even played in a supergroup called The Company Band, which was fronted by Clutch singer Neil Fallon. So it's really not surprising to see Dunn and Dico in this video, but it's truly one of my favorite things they've ever been in. Dico plays a careless FedEx driver who chain smokes and drops packages all over the road, and Dunn gets his ass beaten by a bunch of bikers in a bar, after which he is thrown out onto the road and is run over by Dico's out-of-control FedEx van. Oh yeah, Don Vito was in the video too, but he didn't really play a character. He just kind of sat there looking inebriated. I'm gonna guess that he probably wasn't even aware that he was on a music video set. Alright, here we go. This is probably the reason that you clicked on this video in the first place. Johnny Knoxville is the aptly named Johnny Krill on an episode of the monstrously popular cartoon that has been going on for way too long and needs to end, Spongebob Squarepants. Nah, I'm just kidding. I really can't speak on the quality of the show in modern times because I only watched it during the so-called golden age. But apparently SpongeBob has become the Nickelodeon equivalent of ridiculousness, as it's like the only show the network airs at this point. But Johnny Knoxville appeared in the first episode of the 9th season in a segment titled Extreme Spots.
Ha! Extreme spots! Oh! It's extreme sports, not spots.
The segment centers around an extreme sports team called the Drastic Radicals, and Johnny had an extremely prominent role as a character that parodied his real-life image. You've got to respect the small details. They even gave his character shoes that resemble a pair of Converse All-Stars, the shoe that Johnny Knoxville commonly wears. But I have to admit, this one really captured the spirit of old-school SpongeBob. I genuinely found myself laughing during several parts of this episode. Johnny Knoxville is honestly great at voice acting. I know that he's kind of busy with the WWE right now, but now that he's basically retiring from the Jackass franchise, I would love to see him involved with more voiceover work. And yes, I know that he maybe wasn't a great fit as Leonardo in that weird-looking TMNT movie that came out in 2014, but that seemed like more of a casting misstep than anything else. And that's all we have for today, but before I close the video out, I wanted to give a quick shout out to another channel that is also creating original Jackass content. UncleUnbated has released 2 chapters in a series called The Life of Bam Margera. The videos are really well researched and put together. I'll leave a link to both chapters in a pinned comment down below, as well as the video description. Please check those videos out if you have the chance. And by the way, this will not be the final installment of this series, as there are plenty of other side projects to talk about. But if you liked what you saw, please feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.